Hello and welcome back to the third video of this Fusion 360 series. In this video we'll try to understand a little bit of constraint in a sketch. So I don't think it's going to be a long video. I'm just going through some quick understanding on how constraint are working on Fusion 360, because sometimes you may see the sketch behaving in a strange way without understanding why, and that is more likely to be due to some constraint into the sketch. So let's make a start on this. And what do we do? To start a sketch, we are going to the top left corner and we'll see this little square here, create a sketch. We click once and we'll get to see the origin point, and you need to choose one of these plane. So for the sake of this video, I am going to choose the bottom plane, so the top plane. And then from here, what we're going to do, we're going to create a rectangle and say I'm going to give a 30 mil rectangle, and I'm going to go a 40 mil rectangle there. So if I grab that, you see I cannot move it. If I select it, I cannot move it. I cannot adjust anything because I have this little symbol here which are constrained, and this symbol here in particular is referring to the horizontal and vertical constraint. So to demonstrate how that works, I am going to create a line by pressing L on your keyboard. And I am drawing a almost horizontal line, and then I am going to draw an almost vertical line. So once we got these two lines, what we do, you can go and to click on this horizontal vertical constraint, and if you click on this line, that should be position to the nearest position of the two constraints, either horizontal or vertical. In this case, I hope it's going to make it horizontal. I click on that one, and that, as I said, it is horizontal. So now if I escape from the tool and I am moving that, I can move because it's only constrained as a horizontal. But if I click on the edges, I cannot twist it in any way. I can adjust the length, but I cannot angle it because it's constrained to the horizontal. So if I'm going to click the horizontal and vertical constraint again, and I'm going to click on this one is going to go to the vertical because it was closer to the vertical than the to horizontal. And again, if I click on that, I can move it anywhere around it, but I cannot angle that because we got that constraint. So what else? Let's get rid of those. What do we have? We have coincident. What coincident does? So let's get to line again. Just a random, and let's click on coincident. What's going to happen on coincident? I click on that and I click on that and make coincident on that point. Sorry. So now I have that coincident that is coincident on that line. So I can move that one up and down, but it's not going to move from that line. Same as this, if I move this, that is gonna be coincident on that particular session. So let's have a look. If I do make a constraint, can I make a constraint on those? That is horizontal, that is already vertical, so I can move this one left and right, but it's going to stay coincident to this line. And as you can see, I cannot now angled anymore because I have put this constraint. If I click on the little symbol and I delete it, now the constraint has gone. So I can move this line and I can angle that, but this line here will always be vertical and coincident to that line. So what else? What do we have? We have tangent. So tangent, let's create a circle and let's create a line. So let's say I have got a line. I want this line to be tangent to this circle. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on the tangent constraint. I'm going to select that line. I'm going to select this circle, and that makes the two objects tangent. So now if I move this line, the circle goes with it because it is attached and constrained to that line. Vice versa, if I move this circle and I change dimension, that is remain attached to this line. What do we have? We have equal. Okay, let's do the equal. So for the equal, I think if I create two circle, and those two circles are not equal, let's have a look. I think yes. So now you can see the two circles are equal, and then if I change the size of one, that change the size of the other one. What else? If I put a line in the middle and say I'm gonna make that one vertical, can I make this one equal between the three? Let's have a look at that. Oh, it's already constrained, so let me remove those constraints. So equal that, that, and that. Equal that. Let me see. Let me take this constraint also off. I know there's a symmetry. I think that was a symmetry. Yes, sorry. Okay, that one. So we've done the equal, and we have seen that, for example, if I also draw another rectangle, say like that, I want to do the equal. So I want this to be equal at that. So you can see that has adjusted to the size, and I want this to be equal to that. So it has adjusted to the original rectangle. So now if I change, I cannot change because I've got the constraint of the dimension. Let me try to remove the dimension. Okay, so if I remove the dimension, I can now change the size, and as you can see, it will keep both rectangle on at the same dimension. So that's equal. Let's do the parallel. What parallel does? So I have a line there, I have a line there. Let's click a parallel and see what's happening. Here we go. We have two parallel lines, and then I can move this one wherever I want, but it will always remain parallel to the other because they are constrained together. Let me see if the parallel works with a rectangle. It won't, because I would probably need to select all of it. So I don't think it's working with a rectangle. This one, it's not working. It works only in lines, which is understandable. So that is the parallel constraint. What else? What do we have? We have perpendicular. So let's again get some lines and let's go to perpendicular to that. Now this one it's going to be always perpendicular to this line, same as this one. It's not going to change angle. It's going to be left locked into this position because we have applied the constraint. So let's see from the perpendicular constraint if we can do a midpoint constraint. So let's escape the midpoint constraint. So I want this point to be on the middle of this point. So now we have those lines locked as a perpendicular, and you cannot change it in any direction, and also as a midpoint. So this is set to this point. So if you extend the length of this line here will always be in the middle. So we've done the midpoint. So we have concentric. So for concentric, let's see if I get those two circles and I click concentric and I say that concentric to that one, and it's going to put them together. And if I do change size of it, middle one, the small one will always be left concentrical to the bigger one. Same if I change the inner circle, it will always stay concentric to the outer circle. So if I move those around, I move them around and they will be stay together. Collinear. We have collinear. Let's see what collinear will do. Let's again create two lines and see what collinear does. If I click on that line and I click on that line, it makes them collinear. So now those two lines are always collinear. Doesn't matter whether I turn them, which side I turn them. If I extend one side, doesn't really matter. It will always be collinear. Now I have applied for some reason the vertical, so I couldn't move anymore. So that is the collinear constraint. So symmetry. Okay, let's try this symmetry now. We'll do to circle, we do a line, and that should be that are symmetrical to each other and also equal. These two, they are equal and they are symmetrical to this line. So if I move one, you will see the line is stay in the middle, and the other circle will move accordingly to the circle you are moving. So they are symmetrical. If I move the line, okay, if I move the line for whatever reason, it moves only one side. So I don't know why that does, but let's have a look. This is make those symmetrical. Oh yeah, it keeps symmetrical because it moves only one side because it is adjusting this side automatically. So yes, it is symmetrical in all cases. Then if you adjust the size of one circle, it will adjust the size on the other as well. So this is how constraint works. So if you find that sometimes your sketch is behaving strange, check the constraint, because chances are you have some constraint that will stop you to make what you want. So in this case, for example, I delete the corner there. I should now see able to move this one anyway, and I'm not doing a corner anymore until I have plugged that one back in. If I take this constraint off, I believe I could now turning this side in any angle I want, but the other three are remain vertical and horizontal. So, as I said before, if you have some sketches that doesn't behave as you expect, make sure you check the constraint on the sketch. So I said that this one was going to be a short one, so hopefully you understood a little bit more about constraint. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. That will improve my morale and makes me willing to create more content. And then, until then, see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.